Something strange happened at the Golden Globes in 2020, and the truth is, almost nobody noticed the real shift at first. The room was packed with the most powerful names in Hollywood: movie stars, producers, billionaires, the people who literally control the stories the world sees. But then, one man walked onto the stage with a glass of beer and a smile that looked a little too sharp. He started saying things that no one in that room expected to hear. Not the usual polite jabs, not the scripted award show humor we've grown used to. Instead, he started naming uncomfortable truths. He mocked the industry's ego, he mocked their image, and then he referenced one of the most controversial figures connected to powerful elites in recent history. For a split second, the laughter changed. It wasn't the sound of a crowd having fun, it was the sound of a room realizing they had lost control of the narrative. Some people laughed nervously, others looked stunned, and some looked like they wished the floor would open up and swallow them whole. That comedian was Ricky Gervais. Years later, millions of people are still replaying that footage, asking the same haunting question. Was it just a comedy routine, or did he say something Hollywood desperately didn't want said? Because the deeper you look into that speech, and specifically the reactions captured on camera, the stranger the atmosphere starts to feel. The real story isn't just about a joke, it's about a massive cultural rift that opened up on live television. To understand why this moment still haunts the internet today, we have to go back to the night the untouchables were finally touched. The Architect of Discomfort. In early 2020, the Golden Globes invited Ricky Gervais back to host for the fifth time. On the surface, it seemed like a standard business move. He was a ratings draw, but there was a hidden tension before the show even started. By this point, Hollywood knew exactly what they were getting. Gervais had spent a decade building a reputation for doing something nearly extinct at award shows. He didn't flatter the audience, he roasted them. Actors, studios, and producers were all fair game. But this time felt different. Before the cameras even rolled, Gervais made it very clear that he had nothing to lose. He publicly announced this would be his final time hosting. In the world of high-stakes entertainment, a person with a platform and nothing to lose is the most dangerous person in the room. When he stepped out, the audience gave him the usual polite applause. They expected jokes about movies, maybe some light teasing about long run times. But within seconds, the tone shifted. Gervais didn't start with a joke about a film. He started with attacking the very culture of the people sitting in the front row. He wasn't just poking fun at them. He was challenging the entire industry's moral authority. You could see the realization hitting the faces of the A-listers in real time. This wasn't going to be a night of celebration, it was going to be an interrogation, and the most shocking moment was still minutes away. The name that changed everything. The monologue took a dark turn when Gervais began discussing the complicated relationships between powerful figures in entertainment and the world's most controversial elites. That's when he casually dropped the name Jeffrey Epstein. The line landed like a physical blow. For years, Epstein had been the ultimate hush-hush topic in high society, a name associated with influence, secrets, and a network that many feared to even acknowledge. Mentioning him at a formal black-tie awards show was a direct violation of the unwritten rules of Hollywood. The audience's reaction was visceral. There was a wave of groans mixed with sharp, nervous laughter. Gervais didn't flinch. In fact, he doubled down, telling the crowd, "I know he's your friend, but I don't care." It was a moment of pure, unscripted friction. He was wrapping a terrifying reality inside a comedy wrapper, forcing the elite to acknowledge a scandal that most preferred to keep behind closed doors. When the clip hit the internet, people didn't just watch the joke, they watched the background. They began analyzing the faces of every celebrity in the frame, looking for signs of guilt, discomfort, or shock. Suddenly, the comedy wasn't about movies anymore. It was a window into a world of hidden connections. The corporate takedown. But Gervais wasn't finished with just the social elite. He turned his sights on the new masters of the universe, the tech giants. In a room filled with executives from Apple, Amazon, and Disney, he launched into a brutal critique of corporate hypocrisy. He pointed out the irony of actors giving woke speeches while working for companies that run sweatshops in other countries. He specifically called out Apple TV Plus, while Tim Cook sat just a few feet away looking stoic but clearly out of his element. This is where the retention of the video usually peaks because it highlights a gap that every viewer at home feels. We see the polished image of these companies, but Gervais pulled back the curtain on the business side. He compared the industry's moral posturing to the reality of their bank accounts. He told the stars that if ISIS started a streaming service, they'd be calling their agent the next morning. It was a cynical, hilarious, and devastatingly accurate observation. The tension was no longer just about a mean joke. It was about the fact that someone was finally saying the quiet part loud. The face of the night. While the words were impactful, the visuals are what made the 2020 Golden Globes legendary, specifically one man's face. Tom Hanks has long been considered the dad of Hollywood, a symbol of prestige and kindness. But during the monologue, the cameras caught a reaction from Hanks that instantly became the most famous meme of the decade. His expression was a mix of confusion, horror, and "I shouldn't be here." The internet went into overdrive. Why did he look like that? Was he offended on behalf of his friends? Was he just shocked by the lack of decorum? Or was he the only one realizing that the old Hollywood era of total protection was ending? People began creating frame-by-frame breakdowns of his facial muscles. While it might have just been a normal reaction to an edgy joke, the public saw it as a symbol of the elite's vulnerability. For the first time, the untouchables looked human, and, more importantly, they looked nervous. The final warning. The monologue ended with what many consider the most dangerous advice ever given on an awards stage. Gervais addressed the room directly and told them they were in no position to lecture the public. He reminded the millionaires in the room that the people watching at home lived in a different reality, one where bills had to be paid and real problems had to be solved. He told them to accept their little award, thank their agent and their god, and F off. It was a total bridge-burning moment. The room went silent, then erupted in a mix of booing and cheering. It was a populist moment delivered in the heart of elitism. The speech went viral instantly because it validated what millions of people had been feeling, an exhaustion with celebrity moralizing. By attacking the priests of modern culture in their own temple, Gervais did something that resonated far beyond the world of entertainment. He broke the fourth wall of society itself. The lasting legacy. Years have passed, but the Gervais effect is still felt today. Every time a celebrity makes a controversial statement or an industry scandal breaks, this monologue resurfaces. It has become sort of a digital manifesto for people who are skeptical of the powers that be. The question remains, was Ricky just doing his job as a comedian, or was he a whistleblower using humor as a shield? Comedy has always been the only way to tell the truth to a king without losing your head. That night, Gervais was the court jokester who decided to tell the truth to the entire court at once. He challenged the system, mocked the hierarchy, and walked away with a smile. Whether you see it as a brave act of honesty or just a very well-executed career move, the fact remains that Hollywood hasn't quite felt the same since. The glamour was punctured, and once you see the man behind the curtain, you can never go back to believing in the magic.